Welcome back, YouTubers, to the Braeden YouTube channel. The Turbo D16 Civic is this close. We're right there, and that's a good thing because today is Saturday, October 17th, and we have to have the car at the track by Friday, October 23rd. That is practice for the American Endurance Racing 10x10, which means 10 hours Saturday, 10 hours Sunday. There's some pretty intense cars in that race. We want to make sure that we've got our T's crossed, our I's dotted with this thing. We're going to be racing some pretty high-end BMWs, a couple supercars, Porsches, you name it, some fast stuff. There's also some Miatas that are on our level there. So there will be some good racing, but we're not going out there to win. This is kind of a shakedown, then we'll go back to Champ Car where all the cars are pretty much in our category, and then we'll go for a win in our class. So this car, we've changed almost everything. We've added things to the engine, completely changed the electrical system. We've changed a little bit about the suspension, and we're going to change some more. We've changed the entire interior, even the driver amenities, the cool suit, drink pump, all that stuff. We got to prove all that stuff out today. So as you can see, there's still a fender missing on that side, so we had to run a fire line through there. So we just got some stuff to get done. It's like down to the small stuff, and I will explain to you what's still to be done and what all has been done. We'll go over the dash and all that stuff, yada yada yada. Intro's over. Let's talk about this car, what still needs done, and what we have to do to get it in the trailer by Wednesday, have it at the track on Friday so we can be racing on Saturday and Sunday, go out and have a good time with our friends, and beat the crap out of an old Civic, because that's what they're meant for, right? Alright, so now that this car is pretty much in one piece for the most part, I mean, everybody knows where a tire is supposed to go and that there's a fender missing, right? Let's talk about the car specifics. We got new headlights in it. We have a new headlight harness, which also has the inputs from the fan and the boost controller in it, and the transponder, which the transponder is that little red guy down there, and it basically tells the track when we cross the finish line to keep track of our lap times. We have a new head cover coming with 2 AM lines right here that will feed this catch can. If you watched an earlier video, I talked about how to get the catch can to return back to the block, so we're going to actually have an outlet from the bottom of the catch can to the block itself so that we can return our oil to it. I got a little bit of work to do with the wiper, the ground there. It doesn't return to home yet, or like its park position, so I got to do that. We obviously have to get a windshield put back in it. The steering column is coming back today, and it's painted up nice. I'm going to get the shrouds and everything for the, let's see, the lower kick panel, center panel, and then I think we might run without the glove box for this race, just in case something goes funky with the electrical. It'll be easier to get to it without that thing in my way. The dash I went over in the last video, so all that stuff's in there. We'll talk about the outputs as they're actually working rather than just talking about what they're supposed to do. Like I said, that stuff's been tested and it was pretty flawless. Let's see here, steering column, steering wheel. That steering wheel hand built by me. It's got a couple of cool things in it. The little pit limiter over there, this switch right there actually makes a controller that I built make those little LEDs wig-wag, and those were all hand built as well. Let's see here, pretty proud of that. Got the seat cleaned up today, blew a bunch of dust out of it, and what I'm hoping was all dust and was probably farts from all the alcohol and hot dogs we eat. Let's see here, the entire interior has been painted. You can see it's really nice coat of paint in there. And then the trunk, which we actually put the trunk release back here because we run without windows, and the fuel guy can pop the fuel lid from here, but the trunk lid is also there, and it comes up with some reckless abandon. We have all new wiring put in back here. I keep forgetting to grab these guys to hook up our trunk release ground, so basically that tells the combi meter to turn the trunk light on, essentially. We got our brakes put back in. We have another brace to run side to side from these 2 bolts, but probably not going to run those. We have the expansion harness for the surge pump or surge tank pump, which will be fuel pump number 2. And then it's all in the fuse box up there as well. So all we got to do is add the relay and add the surge tank, and it should turn on and run per the PCM's command. Let's see here, all new tail lights and everything. So basically, what's left to do is to check the suspension, make sure all those bolts and everything are tight, put some stuff on the bottom of the dash and get some of that stuff tidied up, tighten the cool suit cooler back down, and what else? I think we got to cut up some panels to get them in there as well. It's not going to be a super smooth process getting that stuff in there. But yeah, honestly, it's just like putting stuff back together. And then the big thing we have to do right now is get the fire bottle hooked up. That's a must, and it must be right. There's one problem with the connection right there. I'm going to have Luke come in and fix. And then other than that, I think we're pretty much there. Get the tires on it and get it on the ground. So I think that's enough talky. I'm going to get to worky and start getting some stuff done and refining this thing a little bit so that we can have this thing on the ground by hopefully tonight. They'll take care of the bolt torques and everything underneath the car, make sure everything's nice and tight. We check it before every race, and then we should be good to go. So let's get to it.
Hey.
Correct?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have the GPS yet.
Okay, but it's there. So this is what we'll see as drivers. We'll see the lap timer here and the on data here, so we'll be able to monitor all of our gauges and everything. And
Dude, I'm so happy.
Yeah, this is really nice. Look at that. And turn the headlights on so it dims out all the switches. Look at that. Oh, it's great. Yeah, the brights don't really do anything on those LEDs. How annoying are those little LEDs there when you turn them on?
I mean, you can't ignore it.
Sweet. Yes, dude. That was a lot of work, man. All right, shut her down. I'm gonna put the light bar back on it now, and which is super gangster on a car like this, but yeah, look at that. And then we'll get a windshield.
I don't know if you can tell, but I'm smiling. I'm trying to smile with my eyes.
Oh man, that's nice. It's really nice, man. That was worth all the effort. Oh yeah. Let's do the rain light real quick. Hit the brakes and then turn on the rain light and then let the brakes go. Oh, they all work. Rain light. So yeah, when he hits the brakes, it acts as a third brake light, and it'll stop flashing, and then you let off and it continues flashing. This phone isn't doing it justice. That thing is painfully bright. So yeah, well, I'm gonna hook up the light bar and then we'll check out the light bar here in a second. But
I keep feeling like are you recording? God damn it.
blew this fuse to kind of show what they do, and I didn't record it, but so we've got one end hooked up to negative, and they pop loud. I mean, it was pretty noticeable, and when they blow, they're tattletales, so they illuminate. And the saying is, when they blow, they glow. Every single fuse in that fuse box goes to something specifically. There's no junctions after them except for the headlights. So basically every single thing in there, like if one fuse blows, we're not going to lose like 3 things, right? Everything has its own fuse.
And you know exactly what it was.
Yeah, nice, right?
Nice.
Yeah. This car, I mean, it's set up, right?
Dude, I'm so happy right now.
So now you had some time to screw around in this thing and kind of understand stuff. What do you think about it?
Dude, it feels like everything feels like it was meant to be there, and I don't know, it feels premium. Like it feels like a premium racing experience, I guess. Like everything in it is legit now. It worked before, but now it feels like we're gonna be racing against an R8.
Yeah, well, because we are.
Yeah.
So.
But it's got everything that we want. I mean, it's clean. We got the original combi meter still with all the I mean, half the lights are still working, but all this extra information, we got permanent mounts for the stuff that we want close by. It feels legit, feels good.
So this is the first time I've actually sat in it with everything working. Yeah, we gotta cut that damper off the shift lever because it's hitting the exhaust. We'll get that though. Phones are charging. It just feels right. Like everything just feels right now. Right?
Yeah.
We can reach the fire. Even like if I'm completely tethered to the seat, which you never really are, I can reach that just fine. I can reach main power. I can reach IG2. Like before where they had us putting our switch, we couldn't reach it, right? So it's super dangerous. And now, check engine light works, battery light works, fuel light's working. Fuel level I think is working. Oops. Wideband works, and the pit limiter lights work, and there's no way you're ignoring those, right? Like, because when we turn that switch on, the car will only go like 30 miles an hour, whatever the pit speed is, using the launch control as a pit limiter. So when that's on, if you're trying to leave the pit and you see these, like you can't deny those, so you won't get used to them. You turn that off, lights go away, your pit limiter's dropped, and off you go.
Gonna relaunch the apps.
Race Chrono.
Yeah.
This is James's brainchild here. He's got so much stuff we'll go over later that he can do with all this just from his laptop. He can gather all the data from the race. It's some seriously high-level racing shit. Then the Honda data. It'll connect automatically. There it is. Yeah. Then you come into the pit, you turn on your pit limiter, and then once you get to the pit stall, IG2, those continue blinking. So you know. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's nice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then once you turn main power off, they quit. But when those are on, or when the main power is on, they continue flashing. Then you turn on IG2. On the way. You get to the end of the pit, turn them off, take off. All right, James, I'm gonna have you do me a favor. What we're gonna do is we're gonna turn on the main switch, then IG2, then headlights, and then we're gonna hit the high beams. So I'm gonna park it right here. So that's main power there. So IG2 it up, then headlights, then hit the high beams. Boom. Oh, it feels good. Now let's make sure all the taillights and everything are working properly. They are. Hit the brake lights, make sure everything operates correctly there. Rain light, if you would. Brake lights. Nice and bright. Damn, dude.
Huh? Whoa, what?
What you doing?
Drilling holes.
All right, time to test the cool suit cooler. I'm gonna throw some water in that. I have the cool shirt hooked up here, and then I also have the helmet hooked up to the radio and the water here. And if we press the drink button, water should come out of this. Press the radio button. This should make whatever animal noises James makes in the radio. And then when I turn on the cool suit pump via the button right there, that guy, we should see water flow out. It will actually go up this little bundle I made right here, which is not fully insulated yet, and that will pump ice water along the drink water to keep it cold as close to the helmet as possible. So Basically, it'll come out of there, it'll go up a loop right here, it'll loop back, and then go into the cool shirt. It'll loop through the cool shirt, and then it will go back to the cooler. So let's test all that stuff now. All right, so this is in wide angle mode, so you can see the gimbal right here, but that is what it is. So we're gonna test the drink pump first. And if you didn't watch the old video, it's a stainless steel tank right about there, and then the drink pump's in the bottom, and it comes out through the farthest right hose, and then we'll come out of the helmet right here. So, thank you. Look here, you should have been on the prices, right? Turn on main power, and then we'll turn on IG2. And then press the drink button, which is on the steering wheel right here. It takes it a second to prime initially, and it'll eventually go. I hear it trying. Unless this valve is closed. That valve was closed. I'm an idiot. There it goes. Oh, and it leaks. A lot. Let's fix that.
You're gonna have a lot better
Car?
time with this car.
Yeah, I think so. All right, let's try this again. Let's not make a huge disaster mess. But you gotta hook it up, man. Good God.
You just squirt again
On the seat, yes.
everywhere.
There she goes.
There, third time's the charm.
Oh, look how beautiful.
Shoots it right in your mouth.
Yes, it does. Under no pressure. The last one was a washer pump, and it almost drowned us.
You're like,
And it had a restrictor in it, dude.
die.
You would push the button and be like, oh.
So that worked. Pump works after I've completely soaked the seat twice and my cool shirt. So now what we're gonna do is try the cool shirt. So actually, I need to come over there. James, I'm gonna pop this door on you. So now what we're gonna see is I'm gonna turn on the cool shirt, which is the switch right here. We'll see the water come basically up from that fitting on the pump. It'll come out the side of the cooler right here. Then it will go up this and then loop and right back down and then into the cool shirt. From the cool shirt back, it'll loop around and come back in the tank. And the reason I have this coming up this branch right here is to try and keep the drink water as cold as possible, as close to the helmet as possible, because getting a nice, refreshing, warm drink of water when you're racing is terrible. So anyway, let's try this out, see what happens. Hopefully this doesn't explode, because this pump flows a lot more than the other one.
You want to close the lid?
Nope. There she goes, clearing it out. Very nice, it works. And then when we're racing, we will just latch this puppy up. It's full seal, and off we go. We gotta cut that damper off.
Damper.
That one.
What the fuck was that?
How do you want the...
So
What do you mean?
there's a fork,
Your shit?
and the bushing goes into it.
Yeah.
And then one side of that fork has a plate that continues off of it, and there's a mass
all
welded
that
to
weight,
it.
so you just have to cut that off. All right.
Find
I
and
can get
grind it,
busy
bro.
if you want.
I can hold this thing however you need it. Okay, so what I did in the last couple minutes here is I went through and turned on boost control. The solenoid's not cycling. I kind of think that solenoid might have been bad from the get-go, so don't really know what the deal with that is. But then I went through, put the vehicle back in closed loop. Eric, when he tuned this thing, set it all up for us, so now all I had to do is put it in wideband, and it will closed loop wideband voltage target Then moving on, I went through and set the full throttle shift, which is set to the power steering pressure in the PCM because we're not power steering. So basically what that does is if I go to the sensors page and I scroll down to PSP, this might be tough to see on there. But basically there is a little blue dot when I push the clutch off of the top switch that turns on, and what that does is it'll set a lower rev limit and will allow us to stay flat foot, full throttle, check the clutch, bang gears, and not release the throttle. So we keep our boost between gears. So then moving on from that, the next thing in line was the gear comp. I made sure our gear ratios were correct so that it knows what gear we're in for boost control. Then idle, I bumped the idle duty cycle a little bit because it was struggling to stay idling, because this is a different engine, so they have different characteristics as far as idle goes. Then the launch control, I set that at 3,000 RPMs with an activation of 2750. That is not for launch control like what most people think it's for. So basically what its job is now is when I turn on the pit switch over here and these lights start blinking, we'll see the AC switch come on under sensors as well. So AC switch is right here. So I don't know if you can see it again, but we'll try. I push this switch, that comes on, and then so does the launch control. So what that'll do is we'll set that launch control RPM to the pit speed, and that will limit the car from being able to go faster than the pit speeds, because we don't have to launch this thing, we're not drag racing it, so no need to launch it. And we'll test all this here in a minute, but and full throttle shift we can't test, but we can test the launch limiter. Manifold, miscellaneous, doesn't change anything there. We don't have nitrous, sadly. Onboard data logging, I have that set anytime we're full throttle and over, I think it's anytime we're full throttle, it records for X amount of time, right? So then basically if somebody has a problem, they can come right back into the pit and I can pull the data log right off of the PCM and see what it had to say. Rev limits are the same, 7,200 RPMs on this engine. Shift light, traction control. I calibrated the throttle position sensor, negative and positive, or I guess minimum and maximum. And then VTEC, I didn't change anything either. So what I can do right now is show you guys how the pit limiter works. So this thing has like no fuel in it, so we'll see what happens here. So let's go to the display. And you can see the RPM right here, map, and I think here's our AC switch. So if we watch the RPM, the AC switch right there, see it's on now. So what we can do, fire this thing up. So we got it running. So we'll rev it up, it's set at 3,000 RPMs, so you'll see it'll rev right past 3 grand. That was 4,000. But if I turn on the pit limiter, it'll stop us at 3,000 RPMs. So we're just trying to ride that. And then when you leave the pit, for AER, we don't have to stop. So you'll just ride it. So once you get to the end of the pit, you'll go full throttle. And you let it go. Off you go. So it looks like all of our inputs work. I think full throttle shift, if I set this down really far, like let's try 4,000. We'll flash that real quick. There it goes. So basically you rev over that. And then when you are at 6 grand, what have you, and you just kick the clutch, as soon as you hit right there and you're full throttle, it'll set that lower rev limit, so the RPMs will start falling, and then you hit the next gear, and then when you release it and that switch gets hit, it drops that rev limiter and goes back to full power. So you never close the throttle, so the airflow just keeps cranking. Now, it's not an anti-lag shift, but it is better than closing the throttle and dumping the whole system. So
Condensating.
yeah, no, it's really wet in there. My butt's kind of wet.
What is it?
I gave him a little plastic bag to sit on or next to it.
All right, come on, fuel level. Go up. Go up. Go up. I think it's moving. It's not moving. I thought I had those wires backwards or something. Rats. Gotta figure that out. But
Fall asleep naturally with Gummies Stay Rockiness. It's available in both liquid and gummies. Tastes great and is non-habit forming.